to Life in Surround. This is a very special episode. I'm trying something new today. Hopefully you'll enjoy it as much as I think I will. I tend to really like worst to best style videos, so I figured I would try that with an artist in surround. Now, I hope to do this occasionally. I would prefer if I could do it when I have all of the surround titles by a certain artist or band. For some artists, I'm there, and for some, there's this elusive one or two albums that are super expensive or super hard to find on the market. So I may relent and do the occasional worst to best video, like if I've heard a rip of an album, or if I used to own it but got rid of it because it was too expensive and burning a hole in my wallet. But for today, I do happen to have all of the surround content that I know of from this group. So let's go. The Flaming Lips in surround, worst to best. So, coming in at the bottom, the worst of the worst, is Flaming Lips, U.F.O.s at the Zoo. The reason why I include this is because it does have a surround soundtrack. But the reason why it is the lowest for me is because the mix isn't really super discreet. You do get these kind of segue sound effects that are occasionally discreet, but the band is really completely in the front and ambience in the surrounds, like most concert surround mixes out there. And it's also Dolby Digital, so nothing special here as far as surround is concerned. But I will tell you, this is worth tracking down because some of the live versions of these songs are definitive in my opinion. The energy, the delivery. So U.F.O.s at the Zoo, very, very cool. It is the worst Flaming Lips in surround, but still worth tracking down. Next, we have V.O.I.D. Video overview in Deceleration by the Flaming Lips. Again, worth tracking down, but it's Dolby Digital, and you're gonna get a lot of these videos on the deluxe versions of some of their popular surround albums, and they're gonna be in high resolution, and this is cool if you're just trying to get your toe in the water. And it also is cool because there are some exclusive videos here that are not included on any other Flaming Lips surround albums. So you get a wider breadth of material here. You're going to find that the releases from the Flaming Lips that received a full album are from only a few years, and this spans from '92 to 2005. So if you want to get a taste of earlier Flaming Lips, then the most popular surround albums from them, this is the way to go. Personally, for me, it affirms that I'm pretty happy with the surround albums that we got from the Flaming Lips. If they went back in their history and remixed some of their older stuff in surround, I would check it out, but I actually like the albums that we have the best already. So this is cool, but it's not essential, okay? So just take that for what it's worth. Next, we have Christmas on Mars. To hear this in 5.1, you actually need to watch the movie. It is mostly sound effects, mood, ambience kind of stuff. I wouldn't call anything on here in surround a standout song that you're going to be humming to yourself years from now. But it's very cool. The surround does play a prominent part in the movie. It's very noticeable. I'm trying to find out for you. DVD surround, mixed and executed by Dave Fridman. So he's a relative unknown in surround mixology, but he makes an entry here, so good for him. It is cool. I will say that, at least in this household, we frankly like the movie. We actually watch this more years than we don't at Christmas time, but we're a little weird. We tend to like kind of offbeat Christmas movies like Bad Santa and stuff like that. So, um, Christmas on Mars, I really like this disc. I just wouldn't recommend it as an awesome surround album or even an awesome surround experience. It's really a movie experience with some Flaming Lips in surround, doing some weird mood-oriented kind of stuff. And it does come with a CD of just the music. So, I don't know. It's alright. I don't really remember a whole lot from it. When I put it on, it seems familiar at the time. So, anyway, Christmas on Mars. Next, we start to get into the meat and potatoes. The Flaming Lips surround albums that really, really, really do it for me and really make me tick. We have Ziya Rica. Now, this is one of the most unusual surround albums that I have ever come across. It's only listenable via 4 CDs or 4 LPs. So you can see here, here's CD 1, and behind the book, CD 2, and then you have CD 3 and 4. And the idea here is that you're supposed to put these on 4 boom boxes, or the LPs, you're supposed to put them on 4 turntable setups of various kinds. Wayne Coyne's intention is not for this to sound super awesome, so he doesn't even recommend that the systems are in the same room as each other. One can be upstairs, one can be at your neighbor's house, and you just leave your bathroom windows open. They don't have to be in sync. The entire album is spread across all 4 discs, though. So in order to get all of the parts, all of the orchestration, you do have to play all 4 discs at the same time. Now, you can choose to play just 1 disc at a time, or 2 of the discs at a time, or 3, and so forth. But to get the overall surround experience, you have to play 4 discs at one time, and I think they're all stereo, so that would make an octaphonic mix, which is just super crazy. So 8.0. So Ziya Rica 8.0. And fortunately, out there, if you look around in the right spots, you can find somebody has made the ultimate Ziya Rica 5.1 Experience DVD. I happen to have an ISO of this. I don't even know where I got it anymore, so sorry about that, but I burned it the other day because I couldn't find my previous burn, and I threw it on. And what this guy has done is he has done a perfect sync up, a digital sync up of all 4 CDs. However, he's also done this sort of random human error version as if 4 friends were all trying to hit play on boomboxes at the same time. He also provides the opportunity to listen to the discs individually, and the mixes are synced up to classic film footage. So it's a very fun experience. If you can find the ISO of like the ultimate Ziya Rica 5.1 experience, I think is what it's called, I do recommend listening that way. But the intention of the band is that you track down 4 systems and play the discs sort of at random. Yeah, this album comes from a period of the band where they were into experimentation in a big way. They would actually pass out cassettes of recorded material to people in parking garages. They would invite as many people as wanted to come to park in parking garages and play cassettes out of their car decks with the windows down, the doors open, and just blast these random cassettes. And the cacophony of all these cassette decks playing together was the event, was the musical creation. So out of that came, I think, one of the most unique surround albums of all time. This is Ziya Rica by Flaming Lips. The songs are actually cool too. There are a couple of absolute standout surround moments. I think at the end of side A, you get this swarming of bugs that is just absolutely mind-boggling in surround. And then at the end of side B, you get these barking dogs just absolutely filling up the room. So if you're familiar with Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, the song Time, when all the clocks go crazy. If you're familiar with the surround version of that, Wayne Coyne has done that with bugs and dogs. Okay, so that's very, very fitting for the Flaming Lips. I really like this album, and I love it in surround. So track it down, play the 4 CDs simultaneously, play the 4 LPs simultaneously. Hey Jason, I remember that day. And or find the DVD ISO. That's also a good way to go. So next we have Embryonic. Now, the savvy Flaming Lips surround fan out there may be objecting right now, because the commercial release of Embryonic did come with a DVD audio, but unfortunately the official DVD audio is only stereo. It's high resolution stereo. So why did the Flaming Lips do this? Chronologically, they gave us Ziya Rica, The Soft Bulletin, Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots, At War with the Mystics, all in surround in one way or another. And then all of a sudden we get Embryonic, and it comes with a DVD audio for the deluxe version, but only stereo. I can't tell you why they chose to do that, but I can tell you that if you look in the right place, you can find a 5.1 discrete mix of this album, and I've heard it, and I love it, and it's a 48K 24-bit, and it's so good and it's so discreet that I have to assume, I have to assert for you that it is an unreleased, professionally mixed by the band or an emissary of the band. This is the real deal. Embryonic does exist in surround. Flaming Lips, please, if you ever see this video, don't sue me, and officially release Embryonic in surround, like on high fidelity, pure audio, Blu-ray, or as a download from your website or something. It's killer. I would say why it's as low down in my list as this is, worst to best, that it's just because it's a double album, and like most double albums out there, this would be a stronger single album, but there are very cool songs on here. It's an enjoyable listen. I especially prefer the DVD version because you get to hear the whole album without changing a disc. Otherwise, it's 2 discs on CD and goodness knows how many LPs. So I really love this album. I love the surround mix. Flaming Lips, please officially release it, and then maybe it'll appear higher on my list someday. Next up, and I could take some heat over this one because this is actually a very beloved album, but for me, there are a couple of albums that musically top it, so it comes in at number 3, worst to best. This is number 3, The Soft Bulletin. Now, there are some very cool songs on this album. There are a couple of reasons why it's a little bit low in my list. Now, I will say that this album does have one of my absolute favorite songs by anyone, including by the Flaming Lips, including in surround or not, Waitin' for a Superman. I just love this song. It absolutely encapsulates Wayne Coyne's ability to say something powerful and meaningful and heart-rending and hopeful at the same time, and just he has a way of speaking to me in a way without beating me over the head with a message, but just letting me think my own thoughts and evoke my own emotions. Waitin' for a Superman is a killer, killer, killer song. I actually like the remix of it better than the main album version, and the remix of it appears on the CD. I can't remember if it appears on the DVD audio, but anyway, this is a cool album. The other reason why it's as low as it is in my list is because I feel that sometimes some of the songs are a bit unfocused, particularly in the percussion area. I find myself really in love with some of the grooves and the drumming in particular on the better two albums. And this, I feel, is a little bit unfocused, maybe a little bit unfinished. That being said, it's worth tracking down. The mix does feature some absolute brick wall smashing, but it's my opinion that this was artistically done, because while this is occurring, some parts just being distorted beyond all belief, there are simultaneous to those parts, crystal clear parts in other channels. I'm doing a terrible job of explaining this, but there are some conventional moments where the music just sounds good on this album. There are some moments where they chose to just smash this album to death. It's my opinion, because of the clarity that exists simultaneous to all of that chaos, that they chose to do that. That's how they wanted you to hear this music. So in that way, they have made some moments of this album a bit inaccessible, and so it dives down a little bit on my list, but it's worth checking out, especially if you're a Flaming Lips completist, if you're a surround completist. This is way, 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 way up there on a lot of people's list. You need this. Even if it's just for Race for the Prize and Waiting for a Superman, album is totally worth it on those grounds alone. There are some other moments that are absolutely worth checking out. That brings us to number 2. So which album will be number 1 and which album will be number 2? Coming in at number 2, probably not a surprise at this point, it's going to be At War with the Mystics. At War with the Mystics. Now, to me, this album is pretty much a companion album of the very, very, very famous number 1 album on my list. I consider this really to be part 2, more or less. They feel the same. The vibe feels the same. The instrumentation feels the same. The mixology feels the same. Now let's see who mixed this. DVD audio. DVD audio surround mix executed by Dave Fridman. So this was not mixed by the same person who did this super famous album over here. But I think this was excellently done. I would recommend you check out this album alone for one of the bonus tracks. Let me make sure, yeah. One of the bonus tracks, an outtake, in surround, the Flaming Lips do Bohemian Rhapsody, and I will vouch. I'll throw my clout on the line and say that they pulled it off. It's super fun. They actually pull it off. It's a worthy tribute to Queen, and especially in this day and age when Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie and the soundtrack, are in vogue, and probably Queen's Night at the Opera is making a bit of a resurgence in popularity again. This is worth checking out as a companion to that experience. Throw this on as a warm-up. They actually pull it off. Now, the album itself, At War with the Mystics, is no slouch. It's got lots of memorable songs. The Yeah 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 song, Free Radicals, It Overtakes Me, Mr. Ambulance Driver. It's got a lot going on, including That's the Last Song going on. So I absolutely recommend this album. You need this if you're into surround at all. But there is one album in the Flaming Lips repertoire that just beats all the rest, and in fact, it is actually like an icon in surroundology. It's a mythic, iconic album. It's legendary. It is Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots, and for oh so many reasons, it's number 1 on my list of Flaming Lips surround material. Worst to best, this is the best. Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots. This album is super fun, whether you're listening in mono, stereo, surround, I don't care. It's just a really great album. It is fun, like I said, but it also has contemplative moments. It's got everything that I'm looking for from the Flaming Lips. It's got experimentation, it's got accessibility, It's got a wicked surround mix. In fact, Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots is synonymous in surround circles with crazy mix that somehow manages to suit the material, but is just absolutely on the borderline of totally bonkers and completely crazy. This album was mixed by Wayne Coyne and Elliot Shiner. So Elliot Shiner gets the credit. Oh, mixed by Elliot Shiner and Dave Fridman. So here we see where Dave learned his tricks, I guess. But there's actually like a making of video that comes with this, where they explain the mixing process, and Wayne Coyne was there in the mixing process, like suggesting like, hey, you know, let's really push the envelope and throw these sounds, you know, really aggressively around the room and see what kind of fun we can have. So this is a wacky, daring, cutting edge, break the mold artist with an expert mixer. Elliot Shiner, just a legendary surround mixer, the godfather of surround, sat with the Flaming Lips and mixed one of the greatest albums of all time, Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots. And it delivers. It doesn't disappoint. It's way, 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 way up there on lots of people's favorite surround album lists. Now I'm going to take a minute to backtrack and just talk a little bit about the mixes on these other offerings. In general, the Flaming Lips surroundography is mixed very aggressively as you could possibly imagine, and it still all hold together somehow and suit the music. So if you are into discreet, aggressive, crazy mixes, the Flaming Lips are your band. Now, musically speaking, I think you're going to get the most bang for your buck from Yoshimi, and then Mystics, and then Soft Bulletin, and then Embryonic, and then Ziya Rica, and so forth. So that's why I have ordered my albums worst to best as I have. I hope that this has been a very informative video for you. Many of you out there will already have Yoshimi, and many also at war with the Mystics and the Soft Bulletin, but I encourage you, and I don't know how I found it even anymore, but find Embryonic, track down Ziya Rica. That's not very hard, but the DVD experience might be a bit of a challenge to find. But I'm sure that if you just make really nice with the online surround community and open up the right threads and make a comment or two about your interest, somebody eventually ought to drop you a line, because people love sharing. I just don't want to give any more specific information than that. But anyway, this has been the Flaming Lips in surround, worst to best, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share the video, tell your friends. If you didn't like the video, give me a thumbs down, subscribe, share the video. Just blast me on any social media that you can possibly think of. Either way, leave comments, join the conversation, tell me what your worst to best is. Let me know if I've inadvertently missed some Flaming Lips in surround. And otherwise, just have a good time, spin some Flaming Lips. I look forward to seeing you on Quadraphonic Quad. I'm going to go and check out these various album threads, the poll threads, and see how I voted. I bet I voted pretty high, at least for most of these. Anyway, this has been Life in Surround. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Until next time, live life in surround.